Yo, what's up, Mac? This is a quick demo for you for your regional manager, full Darth Maul staff by Watto's Junkyard. We're just going to go over them one by one. They are set up to be single sabers. You've got all the pieces, so you've got the coupler in here to make it a staff as well. But because of my sealing and stuff like that, we'll just go over them one by one. All right. Both installed the Proffies. You pretty much provided all the parts. I just added the chassis and a couple Neopixel accents. So they both have Carl Chin PCBs in here. How to get to the chassis. You've got a crystal chamber piece right here. So what you want to do is just carefully unscrew that. All right, so you can get in there. Once you loosen it up, you can use these two brass rods that are a part of it. You can just kind of twist it open like that. So we'll take this off and I'll show you this close up. And it should pop right out just like that. I did have to glue that onto this threading, but I used CA glue so it shouldn't come off on you. But you can see, you've got that crystal chamber. It's got some nice shine through, and that's why you've got that Neopixel accent on your chassis. We'll put that off to the side. You can come over here. You kind of want to put your finger in the emitter and push the chassis out. But this red button here, this is your only switch. It's the one up front. You kind of want to make sure that's facing on the bottom, so gravity drops it down when you push the chassis out, because it's not on a spring or anything, okay? And there's a particular way to put it back in, and I'll show you that here in a second, but you can pull it right out. Now you got that crystal chamber piece, and then also on each of them you have two lenses. So you got a lens right here, and then you have another lens right here. So that's a total of 3 different spots for Neopixel accents, all right? So you've got 3 different accents here. You got one here and here for each of those lenses, and then of course you've got one here for the crystal chamber. I've only got one sound font on here. It's the one that I had Jesse over at Kyberphonic make me. It's on the SD card. A copy of the config file is on the SD card too, although I know you're going to do your own thing. Each font will have 4 blade styles. They're all wired separately. So your first blade style will be your blade. Your second blade style, these go in order, will be this guy right here. Your third blade style right here. Your fourth and final blade style, your crystal chamber. All right. And then these are 1-button setups, like I said. So you got that one tactile switch right there. Removable battery. These are using 24mm Smuggler's Outpost speakers. Had to sand the edges just a little bit. It doesn't affect the speaker quality at all. It just helps with that diameter into the chassis, and it helps it go into the Saber. All right, so we'll come over here and throw a battery in this guy. Now you can see I got both of these doing something different, and then your crystal chamber as well. I think this one's on a heartbeat. They are on timers for now, so they'll time out if you don't turn on the Saber right away. But if we turn on, they all do something different again. Whoops. It's the apologize font. So yeah, these are doing something different, but I did have your crystal chamber go to solid, and it reacts, all of them react to blaster bolt. Twist off, okay? Now when putting this in, you're gonna wanna line up that groove right there. So that groove right there, that leads to your switch, all right? It just fits the nut that holds your switch on. You may be able to tell when you get this in person and you look down inside of this, it's not gonna show up well on camera. You can see the bolt or the nut down there, but what you can't see is that nut is squared. It's not a round one, it's a square one. And I made this channel just wide enough to fit it in, parallel, and it won't spin on you. So when you put it in, just be careful. You get to a certain point, you're going to want to take your fingers and lift up on that switch, all right, so that you can push this in all the way. And if you feel any resistance, just turn the switch a little bit. That nut has to be parallel with the chassis in order for it to slide all the way in, just like that, all right? So once we put that all the way in, slide that in, and you'll want to keep this lifted up as you put the chassis all the way in. All right, so now it's on top of that switch, like that, right? Just like that. And you can see how these are lighting up. So now we can take this guy and screw it all the way in. This has to be screwed in all the way to keep the chassis engaged with the switch. All right, so we'll screw this in. We'll use those two little brass pieces. A lot easier to do when you're not trying to do this on camera, but now you can see how I've got your crystal chamber nice and bright, right? Of course, the LED's timed out, but we'll turn it on. So you got your two lenses firing up. You got your crystal chamber solid, and of course your CC sabers in here are all lit up. Now the sound venting is underneath this rubber grommet. In the past, when I've done this for other people, I've just taken this thing off. I left it on yours, you know, just in case you want it for aesthetics. We're going to go ahead and move that gasket off the sound venting. I'm just going to go ahead and do that for you. So if you want to move it back for aesthetics, you can do that. So you can see when I move that back, how you got all those perforated holes for sound, right? Way better. Now, I did not glue the switch to the nut. All right, so it does have a sweet spot. If you put this chassis in and you find that it's not actuating that tactile switch, tighten this up or loosen up just a hair until you get the sweet spot. Blade lock up. You'll see the blade lock up in your crystal chamber and your lenses. Just like that. All right, so we'll take the battery and blade out of this guy and we'll put it in the other one. I'll show you that that's working real quick. Slide this out. Again, come over here and unscrew our pommel. Take that right out. Make sure our switch is facing down so we can push our chassis out and just grab it, pop it right out. All right, I'll put this off to the side. You can come over here with your finger from the positive side by your Neopixel connector, pop it out like that. We'll put that off to the side and we'll do the same thing with this one. All right, so we'll unscrew this one too. Exact same setup. All right, so take that off, switch facing down, pop the chassis out, slide it out. Same setup for your Neopixel accent lighting, your crystal chamber, your board. Now both of these chassis, your board is just a tight press fit down into the shelf. It's not glued, but of course you got access to everything right there. Same speaker, removable battery, Carl Chen PCB, and of course your tactile switch. All right, so we'll throw a battery in this guy too. Come over here and put this in. Now again, you get so far, you want to hold up that switch. A lot easier to do when I'm not holding it in front of a camera. Push that all the way in. We can give ourselves a quick sanity check. We're good there. So go ahead and turn it off. As I'm screwing this pommel in though, you can see that your lenses are going. It is important that we get that pommel screwed in all the way. And now you can see your crystal chamber going. I'll come over here again and I'll move that O-ring. I got it moved over to that groove right there. So nice shine through on your lenses. Crystal chamber, right? CC Sabers LEDs there. See the throw a blade in this guy too. If you have a brand new 7/8 inch blade, you're going to have to do a lot of sanding. These guys are pretty tight. This 7/8 inch blade, I've used it to test so many sabers, and I've sanded it quite a bit, and it just fits in there. Blade lock up. Blade lock up, just a double tap, and then hold it down. Just like that. All right, so go ahead and take the blade out of this too. Take the battery out real quick. Pommel right here. Come right out like that. Switch facing down, right? Push that chassis out. Come over here and grab it. And pop it out like that. And again, from the positive side by your Neopixel connector, you can pop it out. And that's basically your regional manager set. Let me know if that makes sense to you, and I'll get these out in the mail to you tomorrow. Thanks, man.